Yes, I would love to tell you how Thousand Trails not only totally screwed us over, but is still continuing to screw us over a dogfight. It's gonna be a little bit longer story, but bear with me. So in January of 2026, we were down in the South Texas area. There is a high concentration of like a handful of Thousand Trails all down by like the Mexico border, like McAllen area. Our initial thought was that we were going to spend the winter down there hopping around to the different Thousand Trails and getting to see that side of Texas. We also wanted to cross over to Mexico and do some things too. So we started our visit down there at this Thousand Trails park called Tropical Winds. Honestly, out of all the Thousand Trails parks down there, that's the nicer one. And that's saying a lot because they're not very nice down there. Honestly, the first week was awesome. It is a 55 and older park, which was great for us because it's quiet and it's peaceful, and they had a lot of activities going on in the park. And honestly, the first week we thought this is the life. Like, this is going to be an awesome winter. We're going to be able to relax and chill and have some great sights. A week into it, James was taking Yori out for her like 6 p.m. right before dinner walk, and he was also taking out the trash. The trash can dumpster was only about 10 feet from where our RV was parked. So he walks out with the Yori on her leash with her harness on, as she always is, over to the dumpster. He said went to throw the trash in the dumpster, and by the time he turned around, there was a dog who had a leash, but he could not see a person attached to the end of the leash at the time, approaching him and Yori very quickly. He had just enough time to grab the handle on Yori's harness on the top right before this dog came and basically just went straight for Yori's face and tried biting her face. Now, look, Yori is an Akita. I know Akitas are known for being an aggressive breed, but no, the reason we got Yori at 7 weeks and have had her in campgrounds and taking her to trainings and taking her to dog parks and socialized her crazy is so that she could be around other dogs and not get aggressive. And she's not aggressive towards other dogs. She loves other dogs. She wants to play with them all the time. She's mad because she doesn't have enough friends. This is my Akita, okay? But when another dog comes at her and literally bites her face, she's gonna get mad. I mean, I get mad. Anyway, also realize Yori at this point is about 90 pounds. She's 3 years old. She's a big girl. She's got lots of energy. The dog that is approaching is about 75 pounds and definitely over 10 years old. As the dogs start fighting, a lady comes up. James says the lady looks like she weighs 75 pounds, and she makes no attempt to try to pull her dog off of our dog. She just stands there screaming at James, "Don't hurt my dog." Yet the two of them are fighting, and James is desperately trying to pull them apart, but he can't because he's one guy against two dogs. Finally, the fight definitely lasts longer than it should because there's not another person there to help assist with this dog. But he finally gets them pulled apart, and he makes his way back to the RV. Now, as he's trying to make his way back, the lady is just screaming at him, saying, "You can't have that dog here. That dog shouldn't even be allowed to be in a park. We're going to get you kicked out. You are terrible. That dog is so aggressive. My dog never hurt anybody." And James just says, "Have a good night, lady." And he walks back into the RV. Now, he tells me what happens, and the first thing I do is I check Yori. I want to make sure, does she have any marks? Is there any blood on her teeth where she might have punctured this dog in some way, shape, or form or hurt them? There is no blood on her claws. There's no blood on her teeth. There's no blood on her fur. She is a white and black dog. I could tell if there was blood. So I think this is it's just a thing. Like, dogs getting in a fight, and yes, should this lady have had more control over her dog? Absolutely. But did that happen? No. I think it's just an incident. I just tell James, let's just let it go. Let's just move on. A couple days later, the manager of the park calls me and asks if there was an incident. The lady had reported it. I don't know how the lady reported the situation that went down. I did not get told. I just got told that she filed an incident report, and based on the rules of Thousand Trails, if they file an incident report, they have to get the other side of the story. So they asked us to fill out and send them an email to tell them our side of the story, what happened, which we fully did. Then, and we said, is there anything that we needed to do? They needed to see her vet record so they could make sure she was up on all her shots and all those things, which seems completely reasonable. So we sent that over right away. We thought everything was fine. The following Sunday, I was leaving for the Tampa RV show. I was flying out of the McAllen airport. James took me to the airport. As I'm walking onto the tarmac, he calls me and says that he had just returned home. This lady is standing at our RV, beating on our door, screaming to somebody to come out. We weren't there. James rolls up and she starts yelling at him because we haven't come by to check on her and her dog since the incident. I have no idea who this lady is. I have no idea where she lives. We are in a campground with over 500 sites. Again, why is this my responsibility? But she's angry. She threatens to call the cops. James calls me and says, what do? I said, you need to call the manager. So the manager comes over, diffuses the situation, tells the lady that she needs to go home. And then the manager basically says the only thing she could do about it is she could move us to a different site, but in this campground, there's probably no way where we can go where she's not going to figure out who we are and where we are. And so she offers to get us, help get us a site at one of the other sister parks. So we move over to another park. By the time I landed in Tampa, James had already packed up the RV and moved it across town to Victoria Palms. And this was all while I was in flight. So then we go to Victoria Palms and we're there for 2 weeks. And then we go to another park, and I can't remember the name of it. Doesn't matter. They're all shitholes, just so you know. Another park, we have 21 days at this next park. We are there 4 days. And all of a sudden, Thousand Trails sends us an email and says at 10:58 a.m. saying that they are suspending our subscription for 30 days while they're reviewing our incident, and that we need to vacate the property before the next checkout at 11 a.m. We have 2 minutes to try to find a different campground to move to. No joke. So we scramble and we do the only thing at the time that we knew, which was just pack up, and it's 4 hours to Galveston from where we're at. Just go find a spot at the KOA. So we do. We leave, we go, we get out of the Thousand Trails system altogether. 30 days go by. We are emailing them. We've filed appeals. We have been calling customer support. Every time we talk to customer support, they say they got to get a manager. They say a manager is going to call us. Manager never calls us. We go through that rigmarole again. I try calling the original park that it happened at to talk to that manager. She says she knows nothing about any of all of this other than the fact that she filed the incident report. But yet the customer service team is telling me that the manager of the park is the one who determines whether we get suspended or we don't get suspended. I have no idea what side is true. All I know is that I can't get anybody on the phone to actually listen to our side of the story and what actually happened, especially the fact that this is the first time any incident like this has ever happened. Why do we not get a grace period? And the fact that it wasn't even our dog who was off the leash. It was not our dog who initiated this whole thing, but yet we're the one getting punished. So then we get a notice that our subscription has been renewed and that we could go. Well, our next trip that we have where we could use our Thousand Trails, we drive all the way from Texas to upstate New York. And we have this big trip that we had planned where we went from Texas to Tennessee for an Ojai conference, and then from Ojai we needed to go to upstate New York for a Snapchat event. We booked a site at a Thousand Trails in New York. We think we're good. We roll into this campground in New York. They park us. We set up. I'm walking the dog. The manager comes out and says, "Did you just arrive today?" And I said, "Yeah." Well, the notes on your account says that you can't have dogs. What? No one told me this. Yeah, you can stay on the property, but your dogs can't. My dogs live with me. This is our home. If my dog can't stay here, I can't stay here. Also, why did they not tell us this when they reinstated? Because if they would have, I would have been like, no, just cancel it then. Because if we can't go with our dog, then we can't go anywhere. Like, that's just the fact of it. They kick us out. We had drove like 8 hours through horrible traffic in New York that day. Just wanted to have a place to sit, and they kick us out, and we have no place to go. So we have to scramble. I find another park in New York that is semi-open for the season, because realize this is like early April. Not all of these parks in New York are even open yet. We scramble, we find a park that we can stay at, thank God, but again, Thousand Trails left us stranded. We again try calling them multiple times, emailing them, customer service, whatever we can do to try to get somebody to give us some kind of answer. No one answers, no one fills it out, no one gives us anything. They're still charging us. They are still trying to pull our card for our $200 every single month. The subscription that we were on was a 2-year subscription. We paid $900 at Hershey for the setup, and then we had $200 a month that we were supposed to pay to be able to use this. We got maybe 2 solid months out of the whole fucking thing. 2 solid months of actually using Thousand Trails. That was not worth the... So we probably have close to $3,000 in Thousand Trails and only got 2 months worth of actual campsites within the Thousand Trail system. They were still pulling our card even when we were suspended. When they reactivated us and we weren't even using it, still pulling on our card. It wasn't until they kicked us out of that New York park that I then canceled the card, because I couldn't get the subscription to cancel any other way. Not trying to call, not trying to negotiate, not trying to get customer support. I couldn't get them to cancel it any other way. So I actually had to just shut off the credit card so that it would stop charging it. They're still trying to charge my card. They still get debt collectors calling me every day. I answer the phone every day, and I tell them exactly what the scenario is and why I'm not paying this bill. And then they say, oh, we'll have a manager contact you. I've never once heard from a manager. So I get at least a phone call and an email every day from them saying that I owe them money, but yet I can't stay there because I have a dog that apparently is too aggressive from a dog fight. So the next time you're thinking about registering for that Thousand Trails, realize that 2 things. Number 1, Thousand Trails exist and is a profitable company because they are banking on the fact that, like a gym, you get a subscription that you don't use 90% of the time. That's how they make their money. So think about that when it comes to doing business with some of these businesses. If they're subscription based, that is banking on you not using it, it means that they're gonna fuck you over. Also, because it's this corporate, like, you know, these parks aren't Thousand Trails parks. These parks are regular parks that are part of the Thousand Trails system, and as part of that requirement, a certain section of their park needs to be dedicated to sites for Thousand Trails members. But if those sections are full, screw you. Or if they decide that they don't want you to be there, then they have the full right to kick you out with no reason or recourse behind it. It's just screw you. So I will say, when we registered for Thousand Trails originally and we started using it, I was really hoping it was going to be like, it seemed like on the surface that the Thousand Trails subscription is that saving grace to full-time RV life. And the way that a lot of people on social media market it, they market it as that diamond piece of information that you can have that helps you with full-time RV life. But realize, I have talked to many people that have had the very similar situations that I did, or even more catastrophic ones than I have, that absolutely did not deserve to be treated the way they did at these parks. And they literally had no support system, no customer service, even just basic reasoning. This is a shit company that is just trying to get your money. So realize, if you're going to go forward with 1,000 Trails, you are going to have to mind your P's and Q's, and even things completely out of your control can determine whether you can stay in that system or not. If anybody knows anybody at 1,000 Trails that could, I don't know, at least stop calling me, because I'm not going to pay for your fucking subscription again, that would be great.